Hello everybody, and welcome to Game 5 in this Best of 5 series, the final match between ThorZaIN spawning here as the Blue Terran and his opponent spawning as the Red Zerg. Once again, MvP DongRaeGu, an S player, Korean player, one of the best players in the world for Zerg, a ladder beast, a maniac in this series, and he has been playing so well in these past 4 games. I am extremely impressed. He's been going down to the wire for all of these games, and his opponent is the Swedish ThorZaIN. He has been doing extremely well. His conservative, macro-oriented play has been able to eke out 2 wins and 2 losses against the Zerg Horde, against the amazing Zerg macro of DongRaeGu, and we are going to be hanging out for this final match on Metalopolis. I cannot think of a more fitting match for Game 5. I love Metalopolis. I love this map. I think it is extremely well balanced. I think it makes for extremely interesting games. It is small enough to be early game aggressive. It is large enough to go into the late game. And the spawn positions could not be better. This is going to allow each player to basically expand to the positions to the side of them, setting up a half moon, cutting the map in half with the Xel'Naga watchtowers as the focus points. And I expect to see a great game out of both of these gladiators, out of both of these players, making it to the final round and the final game of the Dreamhack Invitational taking place in Valencia, Spain. And we're going to see DongRaeGu going once again for his hatchery first build. He has built a hatchery first in every single game. ThorZaIN going in for his standard wall off, supply depot into barracks. He is not into his 2 racks. He is not into walling off his ramps. He's going for his standard conservative play. Very, very good stuff. And we have seen that this type of play has been favoring him in 2 out of 3 games. And in fact, the games that he lost, they were by a razor-thin margin. He was just out macroed, barely, not quite aggressive enough for DongRaeGu's amazing macro, amazing muta control. And I got to say, speaking of DongRaeGu playing for MVP, if I were to choose a unit that has been the MVP in this match, I would choose Zerg Mutalisk. I would choose DongRaeGu's control over those Mutalisks. It has been nothing short of miraculous. It almost brought him a win in Game 2. It has brought him all of his wins in all of the games. Those Mutalisks have been everywhere. They've been forcing ThorZaIN all over the map, killing Marines, killing siege tanks, killing Thors like champions, like MVPs. And we're going to see, it looks like factory going down for ThorZaIN, going into perhaps Hellions. He's been favoring Hellions very strongly in this matchup, getting a single refinery for himself, so I can expect to see a reactor going down. Looks like a reactor on the barracks. Probably going to see at least a couple of Hellions coming out, probably 4 Hellions to harass the Zerg player, to kill some of those drones, force him to build Zerglings instead of drones, force him to build spine crawlers instead of harvesting, and maybe roast away a couple of drones the way he did in a couple of the other games. I think that the drone roasting from the Hellions has been extremely effective, extremely helpful in keeping him alive. And we have a command center going down. He's not planning to be out macroed in this game. He's going to get his command center up and running as quickly as possible, try to get on 2 bases as quickly as he possibly can, keep up with the Zerg player, keep up with the macro style. We're going to have a couple of Hellions coming out. Looks like 1 Hellion. I expect, yep, there's the other Hellion coming out. So we're going to get more Hellion play, and DongRaeGu realizes that ThorZaIN has been favoring Hellions in almost every single matchup in this game. He's throwing down a preemptive spine crawler. He's got his queen. He's got his creep. He even has a couple of Zerglings on the ramp to block Hellions from running in there, and he is just droning up like a champion, even producing a couple more Zerglings. Looks like he is not taking any chances. He does not want to lose this game for lack of Zerglings in the early game. He's looking around. He is checking for Hellions all over the place. He has Zergling speed nearly finished. It should be done about by the time these Hellions arrive, and the Hellions for their part are moving out. We got 2 more being produced. 2 are already on the field, checking the Xel'Naga watchtowers. And I want to remind everybody of this amazing Overlord placement for DongRaeGu. It allows him to completely spot this highway here. And he is now aware of the fact that there are Hellions running into his base. The Hellions, the 2 reinforcement Hellions, are going to be intercepted by these Zerglings. Speed just kicking in, and these Hellions are forced to run away. The Zerglings are actually not concerned. They are running towards the front of the base. They realize that if there are 4 Hellions on the field, that is 400 minerals. That is not in defense at the front of the base. He's going to check for expansion. And the Hellions deciding not to go after the Zerg base. They're going to chase back these Zerglings. And I got to say, I think that was a mistake. I think he had an opportunity to get in here, roast some Zerglings, roast some drones, do some damage. Instead, he is choosing to err once again on the side of caution. He wants to establish his base. He wants to get his orbital command floated over there and ready and mining. He does not want to lose any SCVs, and these Zerglings are hiding in probably the safest spot on this map right here, hiding behind these vents here. Even if the Hellions make it up here, they might not check in the back here. But the Hellions don't care. They are deciding to give up those Zerglings. They are not going to find them. Roasting out one, taking over that Zelnaga watchtower, and they're going to go after, again, the front door, which I think he should have done in the first place. But who am I to decide? I am not the one in Game 5 of this Pro Series. ThorZaIN is, and ThorZaIN is making the choices, and I bet you ThorZaIN is making the right ones. It's what allowed him to take 2 games already off of DongRaeGu. I know I couldn't, so we're going to see what he's able to do. He has his second base up and running, starting his wall off here, forcing Zerglings or Banelings into this choke, and we have Hellions just kind of hanging out at the top here, scouting in, seeing where the creep is, and DongRaeGu is going for his third base. He is not to be outdone. He is not impressed by the Terran's second base. He's going to take his third because that is just what a baller he is. He wants to get his drones up and mining. He does not want to keep them in his base going on here. He has a layer down. He has his Spire on the way, and it looks like we're going to see more of that strong Muta play that he has been favoring, that I've been favoring. I love his Muta play. I love his control, and I would love to see him get in there and kill some SCVs, kill some Hellions, kill some Marines. We'll see what he chooses to do. ThorZaIN, for his part, hanging out. He does not have his siege mode yet, but he does have his stim, and stim Marines at this point in time are extremely, extremely viable. And this is a timing we noticed in the last game. He moves out with stim, but before siege mode. He wants to be able to deal with any potential roaches, but he also wants to get there before there are too many Mutalisks. And look at the timing on that. This Spire is not even done yet. He's got another 20 game seconds to wait, and then he has to wait for the Mutalisk to be built. So this is a potential for him to get out and do a lot of damage. He's aware of this third. It just finished. I'm willing to bet that if ThorZaIN can get in here, kill this third, he will be happy about it, and he will just be able to move right back. And it looks like DongRaeGu, for his part, has very little defense to deal with this. He has just now 22 Zergling, but he's going to need a couple of Banelings. He's going to need, hopefully, some Mutalisks, and this hatchery goes down with almost no resistance. A couple of Broodlings getting out there and poking away, and these Marines and Siege Tanks and Hellions deciding to take what they can and fall back. That is actually a fairly large pickup for ThorZaIN, killing that base, forcing another 300 minerals out of DongRaeGu, forcing, just as importantly, more time to be built. That is time that is not spent mining, and in a game of StarCraft, particularly at this level of play, it's these little advantages that build up into game-winning decisions. Now we finally have a decent wing of Mutalisks. I've never seen DongRaeGu move out with less than 8, and he's in here. He's going to get a nice little position on those tanks, which are not sieged up, but the Zerglings going for the Marines, getting annihilated by the Hellions, and it looks like nothing went down. That was a complete loss by DongRaeGu. I got to give that victory entirely to ThorZaIN. Great micro, great control, great game sense of moving his Marines back, allowing the Siege Tanks to get the shots they need, allowing the Hellions to roast away the Zerglings they need, getting them into a line, and then the Marines were free to take out the rest of these Mutalisks. Losing, I think, 3 Mutalisks from that flock. Never a good sign for a Zerg player to lose so many units and get almost nothing out of it. And it looks like even more so, we have ThorZaIN setting up with missile turrets all on the perimeter of his base. Even at his mineral lines, he is not happy. He does not like the way the Mutalisks have been pushing him around the last couple of games, and he is not going to stand it. We have him setting up, I think he's going, scouting around, he's probably going to try to take his third, going for an extremely passive macro game. And ThorZaIN, like I said, is known for this. He is known for his defensive play. He is known for his macro play. He has excellent fundamentals, and he has great micro when he applies it, but he loves just having the strategic advantage, having the resource advantage. But I'm a little bit concerned that this play is not going to serve him as well as he might hope, considering against a Zerg player, conservative play will often leave you pinned onto your bases, maybe 2, maybe 3 bases. But if you expand any more than that, you are forced to spread your units far too thin to defend from properly controlled Mutalisks, which DongRaeGu definitely has. If anybody could be said that his Mutalisks are properly controlled, it is our red Zerg friend right here. And he's even taking his 4th base right under ThorZaIN's nose. He is not aware of that quite yet. Sieging up on the low ground, going to do some damage here, taking out creep tumors and essentially daring these Zerglings to run in and kill the Marines. Mutalisks are being dared to kill these Marines as well. Stimpack is always a threat, and no medevacs over here. That is interesting. The push out from ThorZaIN is actually, wait a second, getting intercepted. Siege tanks are not sieged up, completely out of position. Marines getting destroyed by these Zerglings, and it looks like that is a huge loss for ThorZaIN. That is going to be balancing out the scales. One giant lost battle for each player. ThorZaIN won the first, DongRaeGu won the second, and I would say they're about evened up. Looking at this in terms of units lost, ThorZaIN is actually losing, has lost more units than DongRaeGu, and more siege tanks getting taken down, more Marines getting forced to push back away from those Banelings. And keep in mind that the Banelings are not necessarily used to kill Marines, although that is always great. Banelings can be used most effectively to push Marines away from siege tanks, at which point the Mutalisks go to town and destroy all the tanks, and then the Banelings come back in with Zergling support and kill just everything else. So if you're a Zerg player, keep that in mind. Your Banelings are helpful, but they are not necessarily going to kill everything, and that's okay as long as you get a lot of value out of your army. And now we have ThorZaIN. He is looking to set up a gold. He realizes that he is slightly behind. He realizes that he's starting to get outproduced, out-macroed. Creep is spreading around. He has Mutalisks flying everywhere. He has Mutalisks getting in his face. He has Banelings exploding in his Marines. He has Zerglings covering his tanks. And he's going to go for the gusto. And this is not turned into an orbital command. I can only guess that we're going to see a planetary fortress come down. And this is going to be something else. If ThorZaIN can hold this position for a significant amount of time, he can win the game. You can take over this spot, you can get the gold, and just as importantly, you can get this positional advantage, allowing you to move out and do tons of damage. But those fresh mules, 2 mules were just killed of that drop. Those mules didn't get to mine anything at all. That is a huge loss for ThorZaIN, but we have a couple of Banelings and Zerglings hanging out here. They are planning to run in. There are no siege tanks protecting this area, and there are a lot of weak SCVs. Those SCVs are so squishy. And now we have DongRaeGu moving in, and I see him taking down a missile turret, taking down some Marines, taking down some supply depots, finding a nice little sweet spot. At the same time, using that as a distraction to run these Banelings in, and ThorZaIN is going to have to make a choice very quickly. He chooses to send his SCVs up and out, and we have DongRaeGu still attacking in the base. A 2-pronged attack from our Zerg player. The attack on this side, the Banelings were cleaned up. Not too much damage done, but these Mutalisks are able to go to town, killing a ton of SCV. And look at that, 24 workers killed for our Zerg player. That is huge, and that's going to put him strongly in control of this game. I would say that despite the gold expansion here, DongRaeGu is currently winning this match 5, this game 5. And ThorZaIN, it's going to be up to him. He has some crazy drop play. He's got to do something to get himself back into the game. He's down by supply. Significantly, he's down about 50 supply. And we have Mutalisks all over the map harassing him everywhere. Taking down his Marines. There are just not enough Marines in these little squads to deal with this number of Mutalisks. DongRaeGu has 24 Mutalisks on the field. He's getting +2 armor. He already has +1 glaive worm out for his upgrades, allowing these Mutalisks to be extremely effective. And he's going everywhere. He's taking full advantage of the fact that there are ramps on this map and that these Marines cannot fly over them. He's flying up and out. He's staying in these null areas. He's staying over the air, staying away from the ground. Now we have more Marines forced to stim and rush in, chasing these Mutalisks out. And keep in mind that a stimmed Marine is damage done. If the Marine stims and shoots nothing, that is a positive damage for the Zerg player. If you can force a stim out of a group of Marines, even if you did nothing else, that is wasting medevac energy. That is doing damage to the Marine. Now there's only a couple of Marines over here. Tons of Mutalisks taking them down. This missile turret forcing them to fall back, but now we have more Zerglings on the upper section here, forcing ThorZaIN to send more Marines off over here to clean up with great sense, with great mini-map eyes, and with great APM. We see DongRaeGu able to save his Zerglings and even send another squad out here, morph them into Banelings. But these Marines are not interested in letting things go. They are pissed. They are going to chase after those Zerglings forever and perhaps spot these Banelings over here. That would be rough. All these Zerglings go down, and now all these Banelings have been spotted. A number of Mutalisks over here, and we're going to see what DongRaeGu was able to do. Planetary Fortress over here. Lots of Zerglings rushing in, getting hit by those siege tanks. Oh, so many SCVs go down. All the mules destroyed. The Planetary Fortress destroyed. That was a huge engagement for DongRaeGu. He has killed 38 workers to ThorZaIN's 1. I'm not sure how ThorZaIN is going to pull out of this. I think he's in a downward spiral. I think that DongRaeGu is in a commanding position right now, but we're going to see what happens. If anybody can pull this off, it can be ThorZaIN and it can be Terran. Terran players are able to take short-term losses to their economy like that. The mules raining down are worth about 4 SCVs each. Even if you a ton of SCVs, if you can get those mules back and mining, you can maintain yourself. And we have a big drop coming up in fuels, and this is exactly